Hey, hey, flamingos, we're back. And we've been working on our invention blueprints the past couple weeks. We decided on one of our invention ideas that we're going to really develop and make a set of blueprints for, right? And then we're going to build a prototype and we're going to have an invention convention. Even if we have to do an invention convention on Zoom, we're going to do our invention convention. So everybody's settled on an idea that they've come up with for an invention, right? And they drew a rendering of that idea, what your invention is going to look like here on your cover. And then we learned about inventors, and you wrote your name as the inventor. We learned about architects and designers, and you wrote your name as the architect. We learned about engineers, and you wrote your name as the engineer. We learned that a studio is a place that all these people create blueprints in. And we wrote the title of your invention on the bottom and when it was created right in that corner there. And then we did the back page, the back cover of your invention blueprints. And we talked about where people can get more information on your invention ideas and learn about the human brain and inventors in history. And we gave them a little cliffhanger like Mary Pope Osborne does in our Magic Treehouse books, right? She keeps us wanting to read more. So we did that here. And we took pictures with your sketchbooks and we glued them right to the bottom so people could say, oh, I want to read that too. And then we talked about copyrights, right? We talked about what a copyright is and how that this is your work and no one can copy it because you put that copyright symbol and the word copyright in the year on there. And then we talked about patents and how each invention needs a patent, right? To say that this is the invention of Lauren Boyle, right? And we wrote a number here that we came up with ourselves for the patent number, right? And then last week, we talked all about structure and materials, right? So structure is what holds something up and what holds it together. And so we talked about what our body structure is made of bones and muscles and skin that holds it all in, right? So then we decided what the structure of our invention was. We took a trip to Miss Lauren's attic. Maybe you took a trip to yours. And we saw how the structure of a house is all put together. And then we came up with the structure for our invention, right? We said, this is what the structure, what our invention is going to be made of. And here are all the materials that we're going to use. We talked about all different kinds of materials that we're going to include when we make our invention, what we're going to use to build it, right? And then we described our rendering on the cover, right? And we gave our parents a dictation of our description, and they wrote down all of our words, and we glued it on the back of our front cover. And we did the same thing for our structure and materials page. We glued our description onto the back of that. So now we are going to talk about power for the second page. Power is going to go right up there in the left-hand corner of this second page in your blueprints. P-O-W-E-R. So you can go ahead and write that. We won't do anything here just yet because before we do anything, before we decide how our invention is going to be powered, we are going to learn all about power. And we're going to start by learning about energy, okay? We're going to do some really cool experiments this week. And it's going to be really fun. I'm going to have Mr. Carl and my dad, Mr. Jim, help me with some really fun experiments for all of you guys. And I'm going to give you guys some experiment recipes along with all of our videos this week. So, okay, let's read about energy. We're going to start by reading this book called Energy Makes Things Happen, okay? Kimberly Brubaker Bradley wrote the book. She's the author. And Paul Measle is the illustrator. And HarperCollins is the publisher. They made the book. So let's talk about energy. I know all of you have lots of energy, right? I love all of your energy. And I miss it so much. So let's talk about energy in our bodies and in the world. And that's how we're going to start learning about power, is through energy. Look at all this energy that these people are using to pull the tightrope. They're pulling it, pulling it, pulling it, pulling it. Tug-of-war. The sun shines in the sky, and two children run with a kite. A boy sails a boat across the pond, and a girl hits a baseball, and a family cooks hot dogs on a campfire. A big rock sits high on a hill, and all of these things have different kinds of energy. Energy makes things happen. It can make things hot or bright or loud. It can make things move. Energy can be used to do work. There are many different kinds of energy. When the sun shines, it gives us light, and the sun also gives us heat. Both heat and light are kinds of energy. Heat and light. Energy is transferred from one thing to another. So when the boy throws the baseball, he transfers the energy from his arm to the ball. And when the girl hits that baseball with a baseball bat, she's transferring the energy from her arm to the bat, and then the energy goes from the bat to the ball. Wind in the air is air that moves. It's air with energy because it moves. The energy from wind lifts kites into the sky, and it makes windmills go around, and it makes the hot air balloons soar. Wind energy sails sailboats across the pond. Things that release energy as they are burned are called fuels. So gasoline and oil and wood are all fuels. And when we put gasoline into our car, we're putting fuel into it. As the car runs, it burns the fuel and it turns it into energy, and it makes the car go vroom, vroom. When we build a campfire to cook hot dogs, we're burning wood fuel to turn its stored energy into heat to cook the hot dogs. But the hot dogs are also a kind of fuel. Our bodies need energy, and they get it from the food that we eat. Strawberries and potatoes and milk and popcorn and tuna fish and hot dogs, everything that we eat, it gets used up by our bodies, and it gives us energy. Yeah. Our food is the fuel that gives us the energy to run and play. Food gives us energy to do our work and our play too, right? You may not think of a glass of milk as something that is energy, but it is. It gives us energy to do all of the things that we do, just like all fuels do. Remember how we talked about a rock on the hill in the beginning of the book? Well, that rock has energy inside of it too. It's not hot or moving, and it isn't a fuel, and you can't eat or drink it or burn it. But if you gave that rock a tiny little push, what would happen? What would happen? It would roll down that big hill, right? Yeah, it would turn into its stored energy into moving energy. And a rock at the bottom of the hill does not have stored energy to turn into moving energy. If you push it, it doesn't fall anywhere. If you roll the rock all the way up the hill, you give it the energy to fall back down again. The energy you use to push it up the hill stays with the rock, waiting. So eventually the rock can fall back down the hill. Look at that rock being so still. It's seeing all the seasons, winter, spring, summer, and fall. The rock might sit on the hill for a long time. It can't fall back down until someone or something gives it a little push. Then it can fall a long, long way. Many things need a little bit of energy to help them give off a lot of energy. A candle stores energy, but it doesn't burn until it's lit with fire. A carrot stores energy, but it doesn't give it out until you eat it. We can see how energy got into the rock. Someone pushed it up the hill. But how does energy get into the carrot, or into the gasoline, or into other fuels? Most of our energy comes from this guy. What is that? It's shining outside right now. The sun. It gives off so much energy that even though it's very far away from our earth, it gives us a lot of heat and a lot of light. We're thankful for sunny days, right? The energy from the sun makes our plants grow, so the carrot contains energy from the sun. The sun's energy makes the grass grow, and guess who eats the grass? This cow eats the grass, and then he turns it into milk, and that gives us energy too. So the sun is actually in the milk. Whoa. So the milk in the cows contain energy from the sun, and we drink the milk and we get the energy to take care of the cows and to push rocks up the hill. And the energy we get from our food first came from the sun. Wow. The energy in gasoline first came from the sun too. Gasoline is made of fossil fuels. What are these guys? These guys are dinosaurs. Ella really likes dinosaurs and making dinosaur noises, and she's always like, I'm a dinosaur. Dinosaurs lived millions of years ago, right? But gasoline is a fuel that comes from fossils, from animals and plants that lived long ago. So the sun gave these plants and animals energy to grow. So coal and natural gas and oils are fossil fuels. The sun warms up and it gives us light. It warms the air and it creates the wind. And the sun gives off a lot of energy. Look at this fun picture of all these people using their energy to do different things. Energy never disappears. It can move from one object to another, such as a baseball bat, to another, such as a ball, right? He transfers the energy from his arm to the bat to the ball. Energy can move from the sun to a carrot, to a child, to a rock. And it can flow from light into a plant, from plant into fuel, from fuel into movement of a car going down the street. But energy never goes away. It's always there. That's good because we need lots and lots of energy. Without it, we couldn't move. We wouldn't have light or heat, and we wouldn't grow. Nothing could. Without energy, we wouldn't have anything. We need energy to make things happen. Energy makes things happen. So I wanted to show you guys a couple different examples of energy. What's this? A banana. So the sun grows the banana plant, and then the banana plant produces the banana. I pick the banana, and it gets ripe from the sun, and then I eat the banana, and I can move and groove and sing forever young with all of you guys, yeah? So food gives us energy, right? That's a fuel for our body. Let's talk about something that I think you guys are probably familiar with, heat energy. The sun is one type of heat energy, right? But what's a type of heat energy we use to cook our food? You guys might have seen these recently. Yesterday was Easter, right? So we have this egg here. Now, I'm gonna check it out. Ooey, gooey, 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 gooey. Oh, I put the egg in the pot, right? I cracked it. This is not cooked, it's raw. But to cook it, we would use heat energy to cook the egg, right? This is a hard-boiled egg. It's actually an Easter egg that Ella colored here. So I'm gonna crack this one. And nothing is coming out of it yet. Nothing is coming out of it, but I can now peel it. I can peel the egg, and you could see that it's cooked. This one wasn't super hard-boiled, but it was boiled enough that the heat cooked it. So I put it on the stove in this pot with water inside of it. I boiled it, and the heat cooked it. So heat energy changed my egg. And then I will use this energy to eat it. Not really, I don't eat eggs, but a lot of people do, right? So they would use this egg to give their body energy to move and groove, right? And maybe go on an Easter egg hunt. Another source of energy that I wanted to talk about, and we're gonna learn a little bit more about this source of energy this week, is light energy. Now the sun gives us heat and light, right? We're going to talk about solar power later this week, and we're going to do some really cool experiments with it, but I just wanted to show you. This little guy is usually on Miss Donna's desk. Bo, all of the gummies sit right next to Mr. Owl here, right? He has a little solar panel, and this absorbs light energy. So this is my flashlight. I got this at the Exploratorium when we went to San Francisco. And I love it. It's a handy little guy. And so look, I'm gonna turn my flashlight on to the solar panel. Oh, and it is turning the light into energy, and it's allowing this owl's head to move and groove back and forth. So this is an example of light energy. Energy is such a cool thing, isn't it? And we use it every day in so many different ways in every single thing we do. So I want you guys to be thinking, I attached a little packet with some fun little books and charts that you can do. There are even some activities in the packet, like your sight word books. Yeah, your sight word books. You can make lots of different things in the packet. You don't have, look how big this packet is, so don't print it all. I'll give you guys instructions as to what you can print. That would be a really good idea so you guys would be able to do some more exercises at home with it. This is like a different form of energy. You can make it into a triangular prism and attach pictures of all the different types of energy. It's just a fun little supplemental exercise to enhance all of our learning about energy. Okay, we're going to talk about magnetism next, okay? See you guys soon.